Hi guys, it's me, Kathy. Mrs. Handy, are you? Hope you guys are having a great day. Today is Sunday. It's a little bit chilly here, and I wonder what you guys are up to. Hope you're having fun. So I took notes on President Trump's rally last night in Des Moines, Iowa. I saw some people that you probably want to look at. There was one person on the, she's after my water, sorry. There was a person on the left, and he kept turning his head. Honey, no, you can't have the lamp. There was a person on the left, and he had his head turned, not looking at President Trump, but he was looking up behind President Trump, looking up towards another person that looked interesting. So it was almost like he was staring at him. And I don't know if the guy who was turned was important. He could be, but I didn't recognize him. But he was definitely there to point somebody out, at least, if not himself. So he was looking up towards somebody. It was a man, and there were two men. One had like a light green shirt on, and then, yeah, he was to President Trump's, well, to the TV screen's right. Let's see, kind of near President Trump's shoulder. And then there was another one that was up near the top of the screen. I'm talking about RSBN. So, yeah. And then there was a woman with a red hat on that was on the far right of the screen. A big red hat. So that was interesting. And you know, it could be anybody with these disguises. So if you guys figure out who anybody is, let me know. I've got a feeling Bobby was there and he was one of the guys in the green, but I haven't stopped it to look at it long enough and enlarge the picture. You know, what you can do is take a screenshot, enlarge it, and just see what you think. Look, and what I was thinking was we saw profiles quite a bit. These people would be turning when President Trump wasn't turning, looking at anybody. So they were kind of turning for an extended period of time. And to me, that was like giving a profile that we could look at. So I wonder about that. So have fun with that one. So let's see. So what I do is, I think I've told you guys before, if he says something more than once, that's something I decide to do, or maybe even 3 times, of course. And if he says a word incorrectly, we call that Trumpology. And I as he's going, I write it down. And when you're doing it live, it's hard because you can't do a timestamp, but anyway, after the fact, you can do it. But you can go back on YouTube when it's playing live. I don't know if you know that. And you don't have to feel like just because you're watching live, you can't go back a little bit. So you go back and the live stream still keeps going, but then you catch up with after you've heard what you want to hear. For instance, he'll say something, like I said, incorrectly, but it's really on purpose, and we call it Trumpology. That's from Tom Numbers. That's his phrase. So let's see. He said taking over. Let's see, I think he must have said it twice. I wouldn't have written it down. So that's 122. That equals twin flames. More than one. Jesus, or what do you want to call it? Christ consciousness, maybe? You know, that's kind of another way to look at it. Jesus' blood. JFK Jr. lives. Alien arrival, Prince George, our George from George News, you know who that is. Number 8, the Da Vinci Code, 107, or 1. Let's see, yeah, I thought that was 126. I take back that 107, that doesn't make sense to me. He's 126. Lucy. I'm thinking Lucille Ball. Live and Let Die, and that makes me think of Sean Connery because he's He's the Biden when the Biden is sitting down. And you probably already know that from before. So Sean Connery, who supposedly died October 31st, 2020. Of course, he didn't at the age of 90. So he's one of them. I call him one of them, like one of the special people. You know, like General Flynn and people like that. I think somewhere here I've got it in a decode. I'm not sure if it's in this one, where it's like the people that work with Jesus on the Christ consciousness are here to help us, and that's how I look at everybody like that. Let's see. Oh, and another one that matches taking over 122 is negative pole. So we have negative in here, which is our junior. And it's funny how, you know, he says junior a lot too. And I've been calling him junior. It's just easier than saying JFK Jr. or John F. Kennedy Jr. I just say junior. And it's funny because when I think about it, he is a junior. Even if he's not using that name of JFK Jr., I kind of think he's using the name Patrick. But, and I know a lot of you guys think he's Patrick that died, was it August 12th? I can't remember exactly now. 63. I think he's Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. And that's a junior, you know? And I think he was reborn as JFK Jr. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And you know we've moved on through all these lives. You probably know that. Let's see. He said, spending bin and not bill. I mean, he meant to say bill. And on purpose he said bin, spending bin. And bin is 25, which is, you know, 4 times 5, comms. 5 is like comms. Jack is 25. FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Administration, I think administration. HQ, there's a Q in there, plus I'm sure there's a massive headquarters. I have no idea where. A kid, that sounds like junior when he was young. Bad head, and I'm thinking, well, JFK was shot and he's okay now, obviously. SF makes me think of San Francisco earthquake, that I've kind of been wondering when that's going to happen, you know, which, like, I won't keep saying it's not real, but you get it when I talk about all these FFs. I know I say it too much. Let's see, and stay strong is 25. I'm sorry, Kat. Sit down. Rosie, you gotta sit down. And he was talking about Lisa Murkowski, who I'm sure is not here anymore. She's a senator from Alaska. And he said Liser, Liser, I'm thinking. I mean, he could have said, I guess he could have done it as Leaser, but I did Liser. It's 63. Equals godly, trip, a Magdalene, Mary Magdalene. Stop it, honey. Come on. Go home. I can't do it. Saint, Kraken, flashback. And I'm thinking flashback because for a couple of reasons, but one of them is like remembering who we really are. And him remembering who he really is. Like at some age, you've got to like have some kind of realization who you were before. Like, I'm sure they're more enlightened so that maybe they know from right off in the beginning. I wonder about that. Elders, being God. And he said after that, oh, I'm sorry, and born dead. They're all 63. I'm sorry, I didn't say it after each word. He said, I watched it and it was so sad. You need spine. He said that twice. I watched it. It was so sad. You need spine. Well, I think he's talking, double talking, and I mean, I could decode it too, but another way to look at it is he was watching on like a video feed or something when people were being, eliminated or whatever. Let's see. He said, instead of courtesy, he said courtesy. So I did Courdes. Stop it. You're going to have to get down if you keep pushing my paper. Sorry. Okay. I can't. You can come up if you behave. Sorry. Courtesy. Okay. Instead of courtesy, that equals 110, which is Lord coming, 110. I don't know if you guys do this, but on Negative's channel, I think it was Shelly, was saying how she keeps track of all these numbers, and she uses notes on her phone, and she makes the category of, like say you've got 110 and you're just getting a lot of words that match 110 or phrases, and she'll make a category, and then she can look them up. She can look them up easily. And the only bad part about that is you're not seeing, I don't know. I mean, it's good and it's not good. When you're looking at something another time and you're really supposed to see another angle to a story that God's telling you, if you have it only a few things written down, you won't see the big picture. And so, like, say pretend a month later you get 110, but now you're supposed to be looking at something else, like another clue to bring you in a new direction. So what you already had may not make as much sense for what's going on or what he wants to tell us. So that's just a thought. I mean, it does help, and it does help you learn the numbers more. I mean, there's a few reasons why you should keep track of them. So just know that there's pluses and minuses to doing that. Anyway, back to courtesy, 110. President is 110. Christmas is 110. It'll be different this year. And Negative said, before Christmas, everything's going to change. Christmas won't be the same. I'm pretty sure he means this Christmas. I don't think he's talking like a year out. I wonder. Starship, which is probably where the children are. Ronald Reagan. See Ronald Reagan again. Laughing hard, and that's got to be our POTUS and, our junior and all kinds of people sometimes. I can imagine General Flynn, all those guys, every so often they just can't stop laughing. Okay, the Christ, 110. Portugal, 110. And I felt like I was supposed to include Portugal because of Gregory Hallett and the two Jesuses storyline. And even if, like I said in the past videos, even if he doesn't know he was part of the movie, and he really thought that he was really the second one, there is more than one, and there's probably several, and they're really just like the spirit, the Christ consciousness, I think. Although I know Juan has scars on his hand, and he covers them up now with some kind of thing that goes over the back of his hand. So, and one of you guys told me that. That was awesome. So, yeah, and the second Jesus, so it would be, if you say Jesus, that's John. And so the second John lived in Portugal at some point. And that's what, it's Joseph Gregory Hallett, which is interesting because he's a Joseph. And I keep talking about Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. Loud and Clear is 110. End of Times, 110. American Hero, 110. Locked and Loaded, they're ready, 110. The Comeback Kid is 110. Clone Wars is 110. And yeah, that's it for, no, I'm sorry, Games Are Fun is 110. A Witness is 110. I'll get to that pretty soon about a witness. That'll come up again. Offspring, 110. Asteroids, 110. I'm the Boss, 110. And he is the boss, POTUS. Let's see. Oh, I can't even read my writing as usual. St. John is 110. Then he did another Trumpology. He did a few. I mean, before we used to pick up maybe a couple in a whole rally. I mean, this is the fourth one. Skyrocket. So in the context of what he said, skyrocketed, ED was the appropriate word. And he said skyrocket. So that equals 127. The Holy One, excuse me, the Holy One is 127. Decode Who's God is 127. Christ Tombs is 127. Fire and Fury, 127. Resurrect is 127. Blood Diamonds is 127. And you probably know about that. That's like horrible. There's more than diamonds in a blood diamond. Look it up. Be Very Scared is 127. I Already Won is 127. You know how many times we've heard him say that, I already won. You can think about it, and he's saying resurrect every time he says I already won. Or he's saying be very scared when he says I already won. Let's see. Oh, this is a funny one. George Macready, M-A-C, Ready. So George R-E-A-D-Y. And that makes me think of our George, who is our junior. Well, our George, you know, George News is likely Carolyn and him and other people. Let's see. Time Is Now, 127. I like it when I get things like that because I'm ready, you know. I'm sure you guys are too. But we're not going to be impatient. We're just ready. Andy Griffith is 127. And I was just talking about Andy Griffith with somebody, I can't remember who, but I was just talking about him saying, oh, that I watch him when we're nervous, you know, like I did that when all this first began, like, I can't remember, 3 years ago or something. And so I get kind of upset about stuff. And I tell my husband, I don't want to hear anything else. I just want to watch Andy Griffith's show. So we'd watch like a whole bunch of Andy Griffith episodes in a row. And I kind of got over that, you know. But yeah, a friend of mine's going through that right now. So she's watching Andy Griffith. Let's see. 2 people. You know, well, we always get the 2s and the 3s in here. Death is a Fallacy is 127. Oh, and this is an awesome one. Brown Bomber. And I just had looked up a photo. This was last night after the rally. I looked up a photo to see what color eyes Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. had, and they're hazel like his dad's. And he was wearing a brown bomber jacket in one of the few color pictures. And the match to 127 and is to his Trumpology of Skyrocket 127 is Brown Bomber. So that's who he's talking about. He's talking about Joseph Patrick, who is Junior. So that was awesome. I don't think things like that are a coincidence. And you know that there are no such things. And I'm sure I've said before, there's no such word as coincidence in the Jewish language because there aren't any. So They don't have that word. Oh, fluff. Then he said an odd Trumpology that really took me aback. Okay, the appropriate phrase, or way to say this was after birth. And he was talking about, the evil Democrats and their agenda and the babies and all that. It was, serious. Well, he didn't say after birth that they would abort. He didn't say it that way. He said after birth. And us moms know that there's a big difference between saying after birth or after birth. After birth is like, I don't even know if I should say, but you can look it up. Anyway, it's 107. I'm sure everybody noticed that. I mean, that was such an obvious one to be like, wait a minute, what did he say? Even for people who are not paying attention. So that was 107. So afterbirth equals Castle Rock, the studio where, in Hollywood, in that area where one of the White House sets is, where I'm sure they've got, our Sean Connery, and I'm pretty sure Joseph Patrick, or we call him Junior, is one of the Bidens. Oh, and there's another Decode. Well, I'm not doing it in this video, but yeah, I'm gonna, anyway, he's one of them. Let's see. So we're doing 107 equals mountain, earthquake, currency, military, the Messiah, the cross, XRP, XLM, Guantanamo, bloodlines, Trumps, dragon blood, Superman, shockwave. Oh, I keep forgetting to say 107. I'm so sorry. I'll go back a bit. Superman, 107. Shockwave, 107. Guess what's next? Cary Grant, 107. I know he's there. I just know it. Fireside chat is 107. We're going to have some intense fireside chats, aren't we? Be something. And I still have heard from different people that, like negative even, negative 48, that it will be, 3 days to get ready, whatever that means. I mean, I guess it's telling you, you're going to be hunkered down, maybe 3 days to get ready. And then at least 3 days of 8-hour a day, probably confessions and videos and things like that. So, so that's fireside chat. Then he said, I never conceded. And he said that twice. I never conceded equals 126. Lord Christ, 126. Lord is alive is 126. Solar flares is 126. Yeah, this makes more sense. Wano Saban is 126. I had him in the wrong spot with 122, so sorry about that. God's on earth, 126. All eyes on me, 126. Now that could be, like I said, on the fireside chat kind of deal, or it could be, like I still think we're going to see JFK and Junior, let's just call him Junior, in Carolyn at, let's see, at the, what do you call it? The history tour. I really do. But I also have information that he gave us that says he'll be out sooner than the history tour. So there's that. We'll see JFK. So get excited. All eyes on me. I did that. 126. 45. 126. Todd Burgun, Burgun, which I brought up before. He's that guy that was supposedly from the Coast Guard that was really Junior calling about his own crash on the news. God's arrival. So we're getting a lot of things that are pertaining to what's coming right up, I think. I really do. Trump death. Remember, I think I said last time. I mean, I could be wrong. It won't be FAKE, but I'm thinking it is now. But if he does, something does happen to him, he's going to rise again, just like JFK. So we shouldn't even worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. We shouldn't worry. We really shouldn't. These things are so much under control and planned. We really shouldn't worry. The atomic bomb is 126. Brown eyes is 126. And that'll come up in another video, I think. Mountains, 126. That doesn't make sense. Take the mountains out. I wonder if I wrote them down twice by mistake. I'm sorry. How about this? Me, myself, and I, 126. So I'm looking at it as Junior, POTUS, and JFK, all three. And then mirror image is 126. Let me take a breath. I'm sorry. Well, Rosie settled down. It makes things a lot easier. I got water on me. See, this is why POTUS uses two hands to drink his water, because he doesn't want to get water on his red silk tie. I mean, that's exactly why he held it with both hands. They gave him such grief. Anyway, okay, he said death watch twice. Now, when I tried to add that into gematrix.org, and enter it into the database, it wouldn't let me. It was so weird, and I don't know if it's because it had the word death in it. It's kind of strange. So it's not entered in. It's kind of weird. Death watch equals 93. And something I remember hearing from Juan, 93 is what the Satanists say to each other when they want to say, I love you. They say 93, which is so strange. But then again, they're talking in numbers. And for all I know, we're eventually going to all be talking in numbers. Who knows? But we won't be talking like they do, because they're evil. So Death Watch, 93. Disguise is 93. Revealing is 93. Epic battle is 93. And that's really what's going on. An epic battle, good against evil. The second is 93. And the second has a couple of meanings. November 2nd is a big deal. And I think I told you that on the last one about the dates, the first and the second. From the our favorite Anon posts. Iron Dome is, 93. God Lives is 93. This is a great one. I'm God's God is 93. Because that's who he is. Harvest is 93. And that's what's going to happen after all these things happen that I'm always telling you about. There will be a harvest. Yeah. The Word. And I always think of Junior as the Word, because he wrote so much. So, you think of John as the Word, that part of God. So that's the way I look at Junior. Let's see. Jesus, DNA. Outbreak. Of course, they're talking about the illness. Probably that's why it was entered into the database. But outbreak can also be like, they say there's a something contagious going around and everybody has to stay inside because it's like the bubonic plague, or that kind of sounds like now, but you know, that could be another thing that they could try to say. Let's see. The Kraken is 93. Hidden Lord is 93. And hidden because, well, Junior is hidden. Negative 48 and Junior are the same person. And so is Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. And I'm going to do a separate video on that. So it'll be just like all on its own, an independent little video. Probably won't be too long. So that, I don't know, it'll just be easier to see and understand and share and all that. Let's see. God's Son is 93. Nazareth is 93. Saturn is 93. And the evil ones worship Saturn, and that Saturn gets its name. That's where Satan gets its name from, where they do, whatever. Satan comes from the name Saturn, or vice versa. I don't know which came first. Yeah, Saturn. And you know something else I remember hearing? Now, to be honest, I can't remember where I heard this. Maybe it was one, but it might not have been. But the wedding rings are supposedly, from what I had heard, are like a cabal thing, that you really don't need to be wearing these. Now, I mean, guys will be all excited about that, but, you know, I'm not really sure. But that's what I remember somebody saying. But it kind of makes sense because of the rings of Saturn, when you think about it. Like, because everything they do is twisted and all our traditions are wrong. So why wouldn't that be wrong? You know, and the blood test. I feel bad. I can't remember who I talked to about all these things, but maybe it was one of you guys on comments. Maybe, thank you if it was saying that the 23andMe, besides wanted to clone people and use DNA and all that stuff, like maybe that's why you have twins that look like you on the other side of the world. Creepy. But besides all that, they were looking for the bloodline. And you know how we were talking about the Jesus bloodline? Yeah, the AB negative. So that's why 23andMe was really around, so that people would be eliminated. And my mom used to tell me that I had AB negative blood, and turns out I don't, but for most of my life, I thought I had AB negative. And then, I don't know, I went into the hospital for something, and they mentioned my blood type, and I said, I have A positive? What? I really thought it was, and I didn't, and at the time I didn't think it was special or rare, but now I wish it was. That would have been really cool. But anyway, I got off the topic, but I was talking about our traditions being messed up, you know, and Saturn and all that stuff, and the Satanists. And anyway, the next one that matches 93 is the black cube. And if you look at the footprint of the World Trade Center, where they put the that it's like a fountain that's falling in, or I don't know how to describe it, but it's black, and it's the footprint of the World Trade Center, at least one of them, if not both of them together. Now I can't remember what it is, but it looks like a black cube. And if you look at online, you'll see there's black cubes all over the world, and the Satanists put them there. And they worship the black cube of Saturn. And each one is 93. The black cube and Saturn are each 93. Doesn't that figure? He did, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. And before I forget, no. My nose is so itchy. I swear it only happens when I'm on a video, and it's so embarrassing. So turn it off if you don't like my doing this. I can't help it. I can't help it. It's just, I think it must be a nervous thing. I don't know. Okay. So he said instead of 5, he did another Trumpology, and he said phi, like F-I, I guess, or I could have written F-I-E, but I decided to do F-I. And so he goes phi 5, and that's Trumpology too. So that equals 15, which equals Fed, F-E-D, the Federal Reserve. DEF, which sounds like DEF CON, for the level that we're at, readiness and alert. GAG, like gag order or gagging the bad guys. JE, and that definitely to me is Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm sure it'll be, because the whole thing with, oh, he's alive, he's not dead, and all that stuff. I'm sure he was alive. We just took him away. And yeah. And we had a confession, and everybody will say, oh yeah, I knew he was alive, and there'll be a confession on one of these days of truth, Oh, and the next thing he said was, he said time flies. And then a couple of words later, he said, it will never end. And that's I didn't do the coding on that, but I just thought it was interesting. He said, time flies, it will never end, because time is something that the bad guys put on us, clocks and all that kind of stuff. We really should be like God. Well, yeah, because we're part of God. And we should be like out of time, how God can see the beginning and the end. We always say that. We should be able to do the same thing. And I think once we ascend and move on, we'll be doing the same thing. So anyway, then after that, POTUS said, other thing was to survive. And when he said survive, I definitely thought of, it looks like he's going to be gone. And that's why he said survive, because it's a marker to look back for, when it all comes out, all the, oh yeah, we left codes for you. We left you breadcrumbs, you guys that didn't know what was going on. Go back and check this out. And that's like a breadcrumb. Stagflation, which is from the Jimmy Carter years. Anyway, he said that twice. And it equals, I didn't do the decode of the number, what it was valued. I'm sorry. Anyway, stagflation, STAGFLATION, in case you want to look at it, equals, God's words, God's Marines, coming soon, XRP, go, 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 the Phoenix. So, sorry, I don't have that number. He said big screens. Now, I hope you saw the rally, and if you didn't, you really should watch it. The beginning was awesome. They had a huge, huge, huge screen up, way bigger than he's had at the other rallies. And it had George C. Scott in the role of Patton, General Patton, who was POTUS's father, his real father. And he came out and he gave a rip-roaring speech. It's full of, swearing and blood and guts and all that. It was like it's supposed to be a speech that was to get the troops ready to go into battle. And anyway, so he brought up big screens, and that's 101 equals God of Islam, 101. And the thing is that I've heard from Michelle Fielding and from lots of people and from Decoding that all religions have truths in them. And depending on who's written them or what direction it's taken, after a while, it kind of has gone off the rail a little bit. But you can't say that this religion is wrong, like Islam or Buddhism or anything, that they all have some truth. And like they've probably been corrupted by people who want to control us. you know, but that's happened to everybody, not just one or the other religion. Like it hasn't just happened to Catholics, you know, with the Catholic Bible. Do they even call it a Catholic Bible? Oh, I don't remember. Let's see. Melchizedek is 101. Immortal is 101. Hoover Dam, 101. And you know why I'm bringing that up. Super V. Remember when he was always saying Super V during the economy picking back up, and we went through Super V and all that, and then he would show us charts with a big V. Palestine. Oh, and that's got a whole nother story to it. Yeah, you should listen to on the Sacred Blue Tent on Telegram, and maybe somebody's posted it on YouTube. Possibly they have a YouTube channel too, but I'm not sure. And Sabrina Gal in Toronto and Negative had a whole show about Palestine and Israel and the Middle East, and how warped everything is and how backwards all our history is there. And I was brainwashed too. I didn't even know a lot of this stuff they were talking about. And we have been brainwashed about everything. And the Palestinians are the rightful ones to be there. And I was like, what? I didn't even know that. I felt so stupid. And that's why Saving Israel for Last is from the Favorite Anon posts, you know, remember Saving Israel for Last? So anyway, highly recommend looking for that. And it's about the Khazarians. It's Khazarians. It's amazing. Let's see. We're doing big screens, 101. Central Bank, 101. Portals is 101. Perfect Man is 101. 18th is 101. I Am Coming Back, 101. Royal Baby, 101. Then I did General George Patton, because POTUS talked about him that way. He didn't say General George S. Patton, and he didn't say General Patton. He's, you know, General George Patton, 205. And I was thinking that's another reason George Magazine was George Magazine. So it wasn't just George Washington, because they're all related, you know, all of them. And I'm sure POTUS was George Washington. And I think President Kennedy was Abraham Lincoln. I mean, I go back and forth, but who was who? But today I think that. So 205, The Conspiracy Facts, 205, Trumpet Sounds, 205, One Who Is the Joy of God, 205, and JFK called JFK Jr. at that time, his joy when he would talk to the media. Golden Era Coming Soon. And Michelle Fielding was just talking about that. It was so beautiful. Save the Clock Tower is 205, and that's about time travel from Back to the Future. Let's see. Death and Destruction is 205. This Ain't No Fiction. This Ain't No Fiction, 205. Gematria, whatever, is the proof, 205. Resurrected People, 205. One more than one. And then he did another Trumpology. I mean, how many is that? Maybe 6 so far? De-engineering. And he said that in place of re-engineering. So de-engineering. And I didn't write the number down again. And I thought I proofread this, you know, darn. Anyway, it equals nuclear war, confusion, banks, wealth, Prince of Peace, God's hidden hand, And I'm thinking like in cards, that's the way I looked at it this time. Like your hand of cards, and nobody knows what you have, that nobody knows you have a good hand. And you're, you're placing your bets and you're like, I have it. Team Christ, because they're all working together. They're all the spirit of Christ, or the Christ spirit, or however you want to call it. Global reset, which we're all waiting for. Angel of healing is, let's see, whatever number I forgot. Female Messiah. Yeah, that was interesting. Female Messiah. Now, I've talked about that before. Like, I wonder if there's female messiahs. I mean, why not? If there's more than one, whatever. I'm open. I have an open mind. But I kind of think right now that popped up, and it also another one that popped up with that was female beauty, because Joseph Jr. was he went to Harvard, and he was in the Hasty Pudding Club, and it's acting, and you do skits and plays and all that stuff, and there's no men, and I think I found out there's still, no women in the group. At least my husband thinks it's still that way. So the men have to play the women's parts, and they dress up like women. So, and I've been thinking that Jen Psaki, Psaki, the White House press secretary, could possibly be our junior. I know that sounds weird, but she could be. And the high forehead and everything, it just doesn't seem right. So it's almost like on purpose looking awkward, and everybody, and like I have a decode here somewhere in all these papers that says nothing is what it seems. And it's so true. I think everything we thought was one way will be the opposite. Even us, like, we think we know what's going on. I wonder if we really do. Michelle Fielding, she was saying how sometimes people get their channels deleted by the good guys because they have control over most of this stuff here. Google and everything, which includes YouTube. That sometimes the channels get deleted because you're not on purpose telling the wrong information, but you are telling the wrong information, or maybe you're not presenting it in the right way, and then they don't want you to be doing that, so they kind of put you like, okay, you go over here and start over again, and maybe rethink what you're doing. Anyway, that's what she said. I thought that was very interesting. So don't take it personally if you're bumped, and I'm not going to take it personally. Let's see. Where was I? So I was talking about Joseph Jr., our junior, as Jen. Yeah, I told you that. 2-2, TWO, 2-2, and God's advocate, and that's exactly what Junior is. He's God's advocate. He goes out and he promotes President Trump. Let's see, Back from the Dead, and John Smith. And John Smith was the prophet. It started the Mormons, and so I think all these guys at one point or another were all these prophets, and they've popped up throughout history. They really do. He also said General Raising Cain, and we're always talking about, Cain and Abel, and, the line of Cain is the evil guys, and the father is Satan. She had twins, but I know I talked about this ages ago, but it bears repeating that way back, everybody was just perfect, our bodies were perfect. I mean, it's perfect as perfect can be. God created Adam and Eve. I mean, way more perfect than we are right now, obviously. And so I'm thinking fertility was through the roof, right? So I know that's weird, but anyway, I'm sure that's what happened. Very fertile. And if you knew someone in the biblical way, let's put it that way, yeah, over a short period of time, like, Satan looked beautiful and all that. He looked beautiful. Yeah. So he was the father of he was the father of Cain, and Adam was the father of Abel, but they were born as twins. So I don't think that's impossible. I really do think that's what happened. Let's see, Millie. He said Millie very, who knows? Is Millie a bad guy or is he acting too? Who knows? Anyway, Millie is 76. Our Father, like at the letter R, Father, Omega, 76. Meteor, 76. Revenge, 76. I Am Ready is 76. I See Fire is 76. No Time, 76. Cold War is 76. Ascending is 76. And Disinfo is 76. So, there's disinfo everywhere. Like I said, who knows if Millie, one way or the other. Right now, he seems like the bad guy. And yeah. Cheer Up is 76. I forgot that. He said New Hampshire. And I felt like that was for me. I was so excited. I mean, I know he talks to tons of people at one time, but, I take it for me because I'm in New Hampshire. So that equals 139 equals 007. So, like James Bond. So it's another reference to Sean Connery, who is the Biden when he's sitting down. Ezra the Scribe is 139. And we have Ezra Cohen Watnick, who is John, I'm just going to call him Junior. Junior and Carolyn's son from when they got married earlier than we thought, along with, Kaylee McEnany and Josh Kennedy, who's an Australian rules football player. I got that right. And he's Whiplash 347 on Telegram. So you should follow him. That's who Josh is. Let's see. Rush Limbaugh is 139. Hurricane Delta is 139. Ancient Goddesses is 139. And they're not myths. I said that awkwardly. It's not a myth that there were these gods and goddesses. They're real. Hail to the King is 139. Saint Thomas is 139. And I love that because Tom Bushnell was at the rally. So we saw Tom and Mickey. They did a short little video. Well, he did the numbers. She took the video when they were outside waiting. So I was all excited for them that he got to go to a Trump rally because he's been over in the United States for a while now. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. And follow Tom Numbers if you don't. Oh my gosh, please. He does these nice little short videos that are easy to understand, and he breaks down what he's talking about, and he gives you the number value of each word in simple gematria. So you definitely give it a shot. And look at his Trumpology product he has at the end of each episode. Just look in the description. Helps you learn, Any help is always appreciated with all of us, I know. Let's see. Oh, okay, back to 139. Hail to the King is 139, and Not Happening is 139. And to me, that means it's not real. And POTUS says this all the time, not happening. So it's because it's not real. It's not happening. It's not real. And then he said this. He said they didn't have whips. And that reminded me of, I don't know, whatever. They didn't have whips. And I just told you Whiplash 347 is on Telegram. And I told you about that already. He said scared and impotent. And yeah, I wonder why they were impotent. Ooh, let's see. He said that, and I didn't decode that one, but I thought I'd point that one out. You guys, I hope you're doing your own decoding, because you only learn when you do it yourself. Don't rely on me or other people. So work on it yourself, and it'll really help. Even if you don't do a lot, just do a little bit. Maybe do a little tiny bit every day, and you'll get the hang of it. Okay, then he said, okay, this word, determinative. And it's funny because he used that word, I don't know, a couple rallies back or so, and it was a Trumpology, and it was so hard for me to say it because he had left out part of that word, and I don't remember how to say it, but now he had to say it again, and now I have to say it the right way. So anyway, it's 153, and finally I'm getting so I remember some of these, because I'm one of those people that has to really, I have to write it a whole ton of times before I remember stuff. John Kennedy Jr. is 153, which I did remember. Kaylee McEnany is 153. Galactic Federation is 153. Michael the Archangel is 153, and we know who that is. Interstellar, which of course is a movie, and that's 153. But I think the reason that's in there, besides the topic of the movie, is another reason, stellar, because there are two networks that are called, one's called Stellar, Stellar, another network called Flare, like a flare up in the sky, Flare. And Negative has said, I might even repeat this, sorry if I do later on, but Negative has said anything that's on the Flare and Stellar networks, because that's cryptocurrency stuff, anything on that will fly and anything else will die. So here he is, he's rhyming like Muhammad Ali, who I'm sure we'll see too, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, right? That's Muhammad Ali. Anyway, so he gave us a heads up on that, which is awesome. Let's see. See You Soon is 153. And Hello Hoover Dam is 153. So, Hoover Dam, flooding. Yeah. You know what I've been talking about, flooding and all the bad stuff. Now, he said a county name, which for some reason I knew what the right name spelling was. And I don't know why I knew it, but I did. Because it's not near me. So he didn't say DeKalb County with an L. He said DeKalb County. And that's 23, DeKalb. That equals fake. So he's saying fake right off the bat. End, sorry it was so loud. End is 23. W is 23. Like 23andMe, anything with W equals 23. And anything with 23 affects the world. I am is 23. And God affects the world. And I am is God. MIA, missing in action, is 23. Let's see. And you could look at Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr., our junior, as MIA, but I mean, really, he wasn't MIA. They said he was dead, but they never found his body. So, Dead Dad is 23. We know who that is. JFK. DOD is 23, Department of Defense. I Dead is 23. It sounds funny. MJ is 23. And Michael Jackson, we know he's here. And Prime Minister was talking, and he was saying that from what he's heard, probably from negative, I would think, that Michael Jackson should be performing this year. So I'm super looking forward to that. Let's see. He's talking about, President Trump was talking about the ballots being pulled out from under a table. And I probably shouldn't have said that word. Anyway, from under a table, he said that 2 times, equals 187. Nothing to see here equals 187. That's our favorite anon phrase. Nothing to see here. William Shakespeare, 187. And I'm thinking POTUS was William Shakespeare. I really kind of think he was. You guys probably think that's silly, but I do. Learn to read Gematria, 187. I am the Alpha and the Omega, 187. Enoch walked with God, 187. The 7-year itch is 187. And that's a movie that starred Marilyn Monroe and 2 other women I can't think of right now. And yeah, it was a very funny movie. War of the Worlds, 187. And I had that come up last video, I think, or whatever. And yeah, that was with Orson Welles. One of you guys reminded me of that. Thank you. And everybody thought it was a real news broadcast, and what it was a radio broadcast. It was really like a play, you know, acting. It was all acting. And that's what's going to happen. You know that, right? It's going to look like we're in a war and all the stuff, and it won't be real. And like POTUS just had on our Decoding a second ago, fake and all that. Oprah Gail Winfrey is 187. She's having a dirt nap. What do you think? There Will Be Signs is 187. Nuclear Apocalypse is 187. I said that so happy. They Do. That sounds weird. They do? They do. Yeah, they do. Oh, I'm sorry. He said they do. I didn't separate that. I was thinking, why would they do pop up? Because it didn't. Okay. Nuclear Apocalypse. Hurricane Matthew, 187. Jesus Secret Plan, 187. And I didn't decode they do. That's why I was confused, because it looked like it was in on the tail of from under a table. Whatever. And then he said, listen to this. Oh my gosh. Some walked out crying. And then ... Never been anything like this in our country. Like, whoa. I'm thinking when he was watching video, like a video feed, like super intense. Won't go there. Think of it, he said, 3 times in a row. And that's 126. And we already did 126, so I won't go into all that. But I did pop up with a couple of different ones when I wrote it down. Let's see, 126 is 107 and all. Todd Burgun. But Jimmy Comet is 126, and that's because it'll look like comets hitting the earth, in my opinion. Andre the Giant. He was a wrestler. He was absolutely huge. And yeah, he was also in that movie. The Princess Bride. He was in that movie. I love that movie. And yeah, he was not playing himself, but he was a giant, obviously, in that movie. I love that. I gotta watch that soon. Anyway, he's in a Clouseau video, and he's definitely alive. He's not dead. Oroville Dam is 126. And I didn't have this in my other decode. Barack Hussein Obama is 126, and he's taken a dirt nap too. Gravestone is 126, and Chemical Warfare is 126. Let's see. I don't think there's a lot more. Let's find out. Oh, and he's so funny. He said, "Make America Great Again Again." And I didn't decode that, but he said that's officially the new slogan for people running for re-election. So that's what it is. Make America Great Again Again. And then he said it differently. And I mean, I could have done all this, but you guys can do it. This would be a great one to work out. Make America Great Again. And then he said dash, slash, comma, again. You can just spell all that out. So I think that'd be fun. And he said, did you leak? He said that twice. I didn't do that, but that's another good one to do. And leak can also be like dams overflowing, you know, breaking. It can also be a nuclear reactor and all the weight hat things. And he said Lake Perry Mason, and I'm sure he'll be back. Can't think of his name, but he played on Ironsides, and he was a lawyer. He was always playing a lawyer. Let's see. He said Kim Reynolds. She's the governor of Iowa, and she didn't come up on the stage. It was interesting that she didn't come up. She's always up there when he's in Iowa. And he said, an incredible governor. Now, you know how President Trump says incredible all the time? There's a couple of ways of looking at that word. You can say, oh, they're just awesome. They're incredible. You wouldn't believe how great they are. You can also look at it as not credible. And I think that's the way he uses it quite often. When he says they're incredible people, it's because they're not credible. They're not really the person that they're saying they are. So keep that one in mind when he says they're incredible people. So I've got a feeling Kim Reynolds is not here. Governor of Iowa. Let's see. And he said, former acting attorney general. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I think Bobby Kennedy was one of those people, probably one of the ones on the right. And honestly, I didn't look at it close enough to figure it out. On his right, in a lighter green shirt on. So you guys should look at that. And let's see. So, because he was Attorney General under his brother, JFK. So he said, this is how he put it, former acting Attorney General. And then he looked up and he said, somebody's looking down from heaven at you. And I thought that was really interesting. He said, I kept my promises 3 times in a row. And that's I kept my promises is 213. Equals kid by the side of the road, which you probably can't see, but that magazine. Resurrected Christ, it's 213. Royal family of heaven is 213. I'm thinking POTUS, the Trump family, the Kennedy family, all those people. Yeah. Mysterious enigma, a puzzle inside of a puzzle, inside of a puzzle. That's what we're doing. We're working out puzzles. And to me, it's like, for now, we're thinking about -48 and 107 and all being Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. And I hope you do listen to that video I do separately about him. Even if you think it's just Patrick, give it a chance, you know. I haven't done it yet, but I'll do it probably tonight and put it up, I don't know, soon. Trump time travel is 213. National Popcorn Day is 213. There is no escaping God, 213. You can look at that in one way or another, the good or the bad. Exodus from Egypt, 213. You see what they... Oh, I see. Yeah, this is another Trumpology. Didn't separate it. You see what they look instead of took. So you see what they took is what he should have said. And he said, you see what they look. So that was kind of an obvious one, and I'm thinking people got to catch on pretty soon. It equals Allan, Allan, Harrow, Harrow, and then Parrot, and that's our junior, I know, acting, and he had the turban on, and he was the CIA whistleblower, supposedly, about stuff that was going on in Iraq, and maybe it was Iran too. I think it was Iraq and Afghanistan. And he was a falconer, supposedly. And there was a movie that was done about him. He was in. So our junior was in the movie. I think you could see it on Vimeo. But I can't remember the name of the movie. If you look up Allan Harrow Parrot, you'll find out the name of his movie. It's about falcons. And anyway, his parents are supposed to live nearby me, just down the road in Sanford, Maine, like right across the border, because I'm on the border of New Hampshire and Maine. And yeah, supposedly that he's supposed to be from there, our junior. Well, no, he's not, because they don't have the Maine accent, and they're not from Maine, and it was all made up, and it's acting. Anyway, Yellowstone Park. Let's see. I feel so silly. I didn't get all the numbers for all my decoding, and I'm really sorry. It's terrible. And I don't have my other phone here to decode. My husband's using it, because you can't be without a phone nowadays. I'm using his phone to record. Mine doesn't seem to work too good. So he's using mine, or else I would tell you what these number values were. So, yeah. So, anyway, maybe I'll skip that because I didn't have the numbers. So he said television generals is 211. And what he meant was like, to me, he meant like fake generals that are on TV, because there's a general that comes on with our White House with our, the Pentagon spokesman, and he's junior too. I don't know how he does all these things unless they're kind of recorded and they're not really live. It looks like a live feed and it's not, because at this point I think all the people that are there for the media are our people asking the questions. So I guess it could be recorded. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but so anyway, there's this one general that comes out, and he's got like a big head, and that pops up in, I think, on my Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. decoding, and something about a big head. And I noticed that this guy had a big head, so I was like, okay, so it's probably somebody who has like that high hair. Some people have the thick hair, kind of like Junior, and so you have to kind of fit it in there. You don't want to have your head shaved. So anyway, or it could be JFK himself. So, he could be the general. So anyway, there's a general. If you guys can figure out who that is that comes out with that John F. Kirby, if you find out, if I find out, I'll let you know too. Yeah, because he's the guy with the big head in the decode. I know this sounds weird, but so television generals 211. Red line is 211. A twin is 211. All the world is a stage is 211. The two candlesticks is 211. So we're definitely got more than one here. Let's see. He said circum. Yeah, he didn't even finish the word. Not circumstances. He said circum. Makes me think of circumcised, so that's kind of weird too. Circum, and that equals 67. I am karma is 67. God Omega, 67. Reset, 67. Water, 67. Elvis, 67. Timber, from the song that the Kennedy grandkids sang. Timber, and I won't sing it this time. Weekend is 67. Alien God, 67. Germain, without an E, you know, it's like the Saint Germain Fund, but without an E. Adam's Rib, 67. Kofefe, 67. Black Jew is 67. And the only one I can think of is Sammy Davis Jr. because he converted to Judaism when he was an adult. And he always made fun of himself, the only black Jew in history, you know, which is funny. And then President Trump said, I had to survive 2 times. And he was talking about the impeachment hoax and the letter. Remember, he had the perfect letter that he kept saying, it was a perfect letter, and to the Ukrainian, was it Prime Minister? I can't remember, president. So anyway, I had to survive twice equals 173. And it's funny because survive makes me think of when it looks like he's not here anymore. And it equals no lives matter is 173. The last Trump, 173. Third World War is 73. No war with Iran is 73. Keep that in mind. The Doomsday Clock, 73. Jesus is my name, 73. David, God is laughing, is 73. Unleash the Kraken is 73. Now this was a good one. You know how part of a phrase can pertain to what you're decoding, but it doesn't have to be all of the phrase. So Philip Rivers equals 173. And to me, it's Joan Rivers. You know, the rivers is the important part. Besides flooding, you know, the FFs. Besides that, Joan Rivers, negative 48, said, well, I heard Joan Rivers is playing Pelosi. So if he said that, that's like 100% that it's Joan Rivers playing Pelosi. So that's pretty cool. Anthem of the Angels is 173. Let's see, I think that was the end of that one. Yep. And then he said, I think for Tom, he said this, because, you know, Tom was there. All these numbers, he said, is 174. Radio frequency ID is 174. And that's an RFID chip when you think about it, but it also makes me think of the EBS, EAS, whatever you want to call it, the radio frequency, you know, on a certain band, emergency band maybe. Let's see, 222 is 174, TWO. I am Jesus Christ is 174. Open the schools. Remember, he was saying that all the time, 174. So when he's saying that, you can think of him saying as the next one that matches, Eye of the Storm is 174. So he'd be saying, Eye of the schools, he'd be saying, open the schools, Eye of the Storm. Michael Protzman, our negative 48, is 174. I love my children is 174. Welcome to the Q age is 174. Real Donald Trump, that was his Twitter handle, is 174. John Titor, Titor, is Q, is 174. He was the time travel guy that supposedly sent the first email and time traveled to, I can't remember, was it 1978? To go back, go back from where he was. He was in the future, he went back to, I think, 78, or maybe it was in the 80s, to get an IBM computer to help with the technology they had then to stop a nuclear war. So you should look up John Titor. You can read all the stuff that a lot of people have blogs about it still. You can read everything that he wrote. I'm sure it was John, or it was POTUS, or Junior, you know what I mean. Big lie, he said 3 times in a row. That equals 44. I am hid is 44. Mask is 44. Abraham is 44. Snake is 44. Kill is 44. That's why there's a, 44 caliber, I think, that's kill. Karma is 44. Ideal ID is 44. Chief ID is 44. I am, and then the letter U. I am you is 44. Godhead is 44. J. Biden is 44. Panic is 44. A mark is 44. Jack and, like Jack and the Beanstalk, but our Jack, or John F. Kennedy, Jack and is 44. Then being with. Now he's talking about Swalwell. It's such a hard name to say. Swalwell, who we haven't seen lately. And he's the one that passed gas and on stage one time. I'm pretty sure they arranged that somehow or made the noise. It's so funny. Everybody had fun with that on Twitter in the good old days. But anyway, he said, how come everybody went after me when nobody went after Swalwell for being with a Chinese spy? Remember all that? And he was with her for a while. He says, I'll tell you about afterwards what being with is if nobody knows. So he said being with 4 times. And that equals 97. And DEC for December, Dragon God is 97. Let's see. Sorry. Oh, now I'm going to skip that because that doesn't even make sense. I am the king is 97. Letter Q is 97. Fairy tale is 97 because it's pretend. Death wish is 97. U.S. Army is 97. Karma, like the boomerang, is 97. Oh, I'm sorry. Karma comeback is 97. Left out half of it. Lockdown, 97. Serpent, 97. Jacqueline, 97. The Beatles is 97. And I think we're going to see John Lennon and everybody. Then he said free speech 3 times. And let's see, free speech equals 90. Omega Lord is 90. Saint Michael is 90. The God gene is 90. Stigmata is 90. Pleiadians is 90. Seth Rich is 90. And I've seen him at a rally. Matter of fact, he was at my New Hampshire rally that I was at. That sounds awkward. Sorry, that was improper English. I was at a New Hampshire rally that became a Clouseau video. Clouseeau, 1 S. So he was there. That was pretty cool. Trident is, let's see, 90. And that's the name of a nuclear sub that shoots nuclear missiles for the White Hat FFs. Let's see. And then he did another Trumpology, which is probably like number 8 by now. This is a funny one. Wait till you hear this, you guys. He said Judeo, and it was so obvious that it was the wrong way, and he didn't correct himself. Sometimes he corrects himself with Trumpologies, but he didn't this time. Judeo-Christian with a W. CWISTIAN. Judeo-Christian. So he sounded like Elmer Fudd. And that equals 153. And we've done that earlier, but that's, John Kennedy Jr., Interstellar. And then I added Jim Morrison. What did I add? Benjamin Franklin. My Great Test. And I'm thinking that's when it looks like he dies, or he does die. Like, I don't know which way it's going to be. Asteroid impact. I think I didn't have Dogecoin, Dogecoin. And I think I have Dogecoin standard is 153. So I think I have that in another decode that's not in here. And it's Dogecoin spelled backwards is E-God. And what that means is electric God. And I think that's why Dogecoin is named that, because it's E-God backwards. And yeah, so anyway, I'm not a financial advisor, but I did buy Dogecoin because to me, that's one of the ones that will be around afterwards, and not many will be. Let's see. Next one is, he said, we love you 2 times. And that equals 143. And it equals Melania Trump. Jesus is King, 143. Federal Reserve, 143. Where's Durham, 143. And I think I already mentioned, didn't I, that Durham is Junior. So in my opinion, that's who that is. So, when people say, where's Durham? What's Durham doing? Well, whatever Junior's doing, that's what Durham's doing. The Punisher is 143. Let's see. 4 Dark Days is 143. And that's the amount of time that JFK was dead when he was in Dallas that day. It decodes, the date decodes to 4 Dark Days. So anyway, and he came alive exactly 4 days later on the East Coast, in case you didn't know that. That's why he's an American, not born in Libya like he was before. You Are Loved is 143. Prophet Elijah is 143. Change the World, 143. Blood of Jesus, 143. And Negative said that Junior gave JFK blood after he died. And I'm thinking, okay, was it before he went to the East Coast for 4 days, or was it after? And I was thinking, well, I guess it was after he gave him blood. It's kind of weird to think about, but that he did say he gave him blood. No More Tears is 143, which will be nice. Christ Twin is 143. Let's see. He said ban it 3 times. B-A-N-I-T. Ban it. And ban it is 46, which is 1. Body. There's a lot of bodies walking around. Chaos is 46. Aramaic is 46. Jobs, 46. So every time he says jobs numbers or jobs, he's saying 1. It's really cool. And for me, now I saw these right off the bat. For me, like I look at it personally too. So 46 also equals my daughter's nickname. It's Katie. It equals my husband's nickname, Bobby. It equals my middle name, Elaine. And it equals my dad passed away, but my dad's occupation for 40 whatever years, and he was a barber. So all those, Katie, Bobby, Elaine, and Barber are 46. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, President Trump. I love it. Let's see, what else matches 46? Oh, G.I. Joe matches 46. Tank equals 46. Flash, 46. Scare 46, Codes 46, Fuji 46, Brigade 46, Angina 46. I'm thinking, you know, in the Bible it says that men's hearts will fail them, and it's like rumors of wars is in there because it won't be real. But I'm thinking, I hope angina, people like find out quick enough that they don't have heart attacks. I mean, angina isn't necessarily a heart attack, but it's pain, you know. So anyway, Reagan again is, let's see, what was I doing? 46. Bono, Sonny Bono, he's alive in a Clouseau video too, 46. Scalia is 46, he's alive. Dragged is 46. Choked is 46. Celebs is 46. Obama dead, 46. Charged is 46. Now you can think of it as electrically charged. You can think of it as, you know, you are charged with this crime. Fig leaf is 46. A redhead is 46. And Negative was just talking about the other day that POTUS was a redhead. And I had never really thought of him as a redhead, but I guess he kind of is a little bit. And he said, you know, when he mentioned it, he said, you know, David was a redhead. And I was like, oh, okay, you know. And he was talking about killing Goliath. Let's see. He said JJ, and he was talking about a person named JJ and Janet, somebody he pointed to out in the crowd. He said that twice, JJ and Janet 2 times. It equals 89, and it equals Christ, DEC, like December. Divine God is 89. Yeah, me again, 89. Finding God, 89. Mr. Poole, who's on Twitter, I don't know if he's on Telegram, is 89. He gives out great clues that people work on like feverishly. It's a Wait Hat account. Doge Father, DOGE, Father, all one word, 89. Life and Death, 89. Da Vinci Code, 89. Hologram, 89. Secrets, 89. Face Jesus, 89. I Am Happy is 89. And it's funny because Negative had just said that on the last thing I listened to him a couple days ago. Because he said, he made a point of saying, I am happy. And I think it's because he knew POTUS would be doing this thing that decoded, you know, and kind of like a confirmation. So anyway, I am happy because he gets kind of, you know, upset about things, but he said he's trying to make a point, you know, like things aren't going great. Well, the way things have been, we're not great. So, but he said, I am happy. Alarm clock is 89, Antarctic, 89, and Sully, Sully is 89. And I was wondering if was that even really real? Like, was that a hologram landing on the Hudson? I don't think it was. I think that really happened. I wonder. But is it popping up because it will look like that happened with another plane. It'll go into the river like that, like a big passenger jet. When all this is all occurring, the Wait Hat FFs. Tupelo is 89, and that's where Elvis was born. And blue-green, and that's 89, equals Tiffany blue, our color we love. And Negative has said that that's from the color of the sky and the earth put together, the blue and the green, and that it's left out of the rainbow and that we need to have it back. So at the end, this is right at the end, and President Trump said, God bless you, thank you very much. And he said, see you soon. And he never says, see you soon. So I thought that was interesting too. And see you soon happens to be 153, which we've done a bunch before. And that's John Kennedy Jr. So that makes sense, doesn't it? And then they were playing Macho Man when he left. And the chorus is body, 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 you know. It just repeats that over and over again. So as he's standing there and everybody's taking his picture, and he threw something up in the crowd, there, all you heard in the background was body, 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 body. Like there's bodies everywhere. It's kind of funny. And that equals 46, just like we just did. So that was cool. So that's the end of the rally from Des Moines, Iowa. Now, I know I've talked a long time, but I just want to go into really quick. I'm just going to read it word for word and just go right through it fast, because you really should watch it, because there's a whole lot more than what I'm talking about. It's Michelle Fielding, and she was on with Pryme Minister, Pryme. Yeah, and he's on Telegram, so he'll have it posted on Telegram. He's not on YouTube anymore. Yeah, and I'm sure she'll have it too, Michelle Fielding. So yeah, anyway, so they were talking and it was just awesome. So I saw it today, so it either was from yesterday or today, which was the October 9th or 10th, 2021. And today's my anniversary, 40 years. So hey, that's really cool. I think it's cool. Happy anniversary, Mr. Handy, because he'll watch this. Let's see. So Michelle Fielding on Pryme Minister, right off the bat, she mentioned Commander Ashtar, Ashtar, because she said she knows when Commander Ashtar is talking to her, or whatever angel is talking to her. And I was like, my ears pricked up, because she talked about him before, and I knew that Commander Ashtar was our junior. And I don't know if she knows that or not, but it is, because Commander Ashtar is 153, and the Archangel Michael is 153, and John Kennedy Jr. is 153. So that's who that is. Let's see. And See You Soon that President Trump did was 153. And it also matches This Is Who I Am is 153. So it's so obvious. It is so obvious. That's who Commander Ashtar is. So, oh, and the Revealed Sun is 153. So I'm just going to read a blurb that I found about Commander Ashtar. I mean, I didn't go researching a whole bunch. And at the end, I have where I got this from, so you can look it up. So the Ashtar Command is the airborne division of the Great Brother Sisterhood of Light under the administrative direction of Commander Ashtar and the spiritual guidance of Lord, I don't know how to say this, Sananda, our Commander-in-Chief. Of Lord Sananda, our Commander-in-Chief, known to Earth as Jesus the Christ. Composed of millions of starships and personnel from many civilizations, we are here to assist Earth and humanity through the current cycle of planetary cleansing and polar realignment. We serve like midwives in the birthing process. Now, isn't that interesting? Now that I've read that, and I was laughing about how POTUS said afterbirth instead of after birth, which would have been the appropriate thing to say. He said afterbirth. And after the birthing process, you have afterbirth. You know, you're delivering the placenta. It's kind of bloody, you know. Yeah, isn't that interesting? So he must have said that just maybe because he knows everything. Let's face it. He knows everything. He's God. I mean, come right out and say it, people. So it's all tied together, you know. So then he said, we act as midwives in the birthing process of humanity, from dense physical to physical etheric, like etheric bodies of light, capable of ascending into the fifth dimension, along with the earth. Now, getcha. You'll remember this from the Bible probably. There are 144,000 light workers called eagles. And I see eagle in decodes all the time, like red eagle and different things like that. And I've heard it referenced to JFK when I've decoded. I think that's what he is, a light worker. I'm thinking there's a lot of light workers, like a lot of people here that are light workers. I mean, a lot of people call themselves light workers. I don't know if I'm a light worker, but whatever. I'm what I am. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to start it over again. There are 144,000 light workers called eagles connected to the command. That is the minimum of souls needed for the ascension process. These eagles are a group of souls who don't identify with a special planet. They know they are one with all and are Christ consciousness. They help us move from dense physical into physical bodies of light. Light work is incorporating Jesus' message of love into our daily lives, connecting to our higher selves. And this is from Ashtar Galactic, I should say ashtar.galactic.to, and it was all in small letters. And that's the name of the article, so you can look that up and see there was more to the article than this. And there's other articles, and other websites. And she was talking to Pryme Minister, Pryme, Michelle Fielding. And she said, if you want to see God, look in the mirror, because we're all part of God. And I've thought of that before. I hope you guys have thought of that. It's so cool. It makes me happy. Let's see. And Michelle asked, she calls them when she talks to God and angels. She says them. I asked them, I asked them about the future and the golden age. And she said by 2032, we will completely be in the golden age. Because it's like written into like the law that we have to be. So there's like no choice. We have to be in the golden age by 2032. And she said something awesome that I've already heard about from Negative, but there'll be healing towers. And they told her in London and New York City. And Negative 48, who's our junior, said the Space Needle, Eiffel Tower in France, and in New York City, the Statue of Liberty, all had major renovations. Like they were closed for a long time and they had scaffolding, they had major renovations. And he didn't say that they were Tesla towers or healing towers, but he said, what are they? And we talk about Tesla all the time on these Telegram chats. So that's definitely what they are. They're some form of a healing energy. They could also be energy for producing energy. I don't know about that. So that's cool that she brought that up. So it's like a confirmation that that's kind of what's going on. And she said something that I thought will happen. Office buildings will become homes. So that's kind of neat. They'll be like, she brought up that it'll be more like communities and cities and not like the hustle bustle coming and going. There won't be the need to run around as much, and there'll be different transportation by then and all that. And everybody will look out for each other. I think that's awesome. Let's see. And she said there'll be organic and locally grown food, and people will be bartering, and everybody will be like happy, and there'll be much joy and peace. And that just sounds so idyllic and awesome. And she said, we'll hear what animals are saying. We'll know what they're saying, we'll understand it. And animals won't be in zoos, and they'll be free. And that's another reason why I think veganism pops up all the time in the decoding. it's because the animals will know what they're thinking and everything. And yeah, so I've got a feeling we're going to be not eating meat at some point. So I think I might start rehearsing. Let's see. And she said weather around the world will be kind of like steadied, I think is kind of, I'm not sure how she put it. And maybe like regulated or something, and that it won't be like the extreme like we've been seeing. And she's talked about gigantic crystals of healing will be around, all around. And sound frequencies will be the new medicine in every home, and they'll be in every home. They'll be part of the home. And she said buildings like Buckingham Palace will be torn down and replaced, and they'll have healing technology. And they were evil anyway, so have to get rid of that stuff. No long hours of work. Sounds beautiful. And let's see what else. She said any business that's not heart centers, like how can I help kind of thing, will not fly. They won't do well. So that's all I had on that, because I mean, honestly, there was a whole lot more in the Pryme Minister show with Michelle Fielding, so you really should look for it. And yeah, I would highly recommend it. It was over an hour. It was probably an hour and a quarter, so I only talked for a few minutes from that. So yeah, you should follow Pryme Minister. And like Pryme Minister on Telegram, you probably already know, but -48 pops in there who knows when. And he's an admin on his Telegram room, so he can pop in whenever he has time. It could be at 2 in the morning. It could be 2 in the afternoon. You never know. Just like he does on his own -48 channel on Telegram. Make sure it's channel, not chat. Chat, you can't talk on that one. There's no voice chat. So anyway, nice talking to you guys. I know this went on for a long time, but that was the long one. The other ones won't be quite as long, I don't think. So God bless you guys. Thanks for listening, putting up with everything, and all your comments been awesome. I read every one. You know that. I might not respond to everyone, but I read every single one. So I hope you know that. I do care about you and love you guys. And look out for each other, okay? Until you see the next video. Bye-bye.